Welcome to the Rugby Report. My name is Christian Boussier, and alongside Adam Black are your hosts for Week 4.
We had some exciting rugby last weekend. 2 of the games were decided by just 1 point. We will break down each game for you, showing the rankings, leaderboards, and more.
Our first matchup of the day last Saturday took place in Jacksonville. The Knights of UCF traveled to University of North Florida. The Ospreys of North Jacksonville had struggled this season on offense and were looking for their first W of the season. Meanwhile, UCF was looking for their second win of the season.
UNF will jump out to an early lead, scoring 2 tries and 2 converts, while UCF would tie the score with just under 15 minutes left to play in the first half. Number 9, Mark Carvajal for UCF would get a hat trick in the first half and give the Knights a 21-14 lead at the break.
Yeah, Adam, it appeared like it was going to be a dogfight to the finish, but the Knights turned it up a notch and in the second half scored 19 unanswered points. Mr. Carvajal had himself a game with 4 tries. Anthony Thompson and Alex Castillo would also get a try for each. The Knights' final scores, 40 for UCF and 14 for the Ospreys in North Jacksonville.
Matthew Eels of UNF Rugby.
All right, so you guys had a good start there, scoring 2 tries in that first half. What do you think went wrong after that?
Yeah, we just gotta, we played our shape to get it out to the wing and then get some pods in, get some rucks in, get some gates in. And it worked well in the beginning, but we just got to continue with our game, and it kind of just fell apart because we didn't follow our game plan.
All right, and what do you got to do to improve? Come back next week.
Just keep drilling, keep running, keep doing fitness, keep hammering our game plan the way we want to hammer it, and if we run our game plan full 80 minutes, we don't think anyone in the state can beat us.
Austin Debbing, UCF Rugby.
And so the question we have for you today is, what is training and practice like for the guys?
I'd say it's hard and it's like grit. You got to put your work in, and you can't just lay around and not do anything, because everyone needs to be in there together and working, and everyone keeps each other accountable. And we'd love to see it.
And how often do you guys practice?
3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
And so are there any guys on the team that, like, you know, they put in more training than other guys, so even outside of practice?
We would hope everyone on the team puts in more training than everyone, because everyone needs to be better. Everyone needs to hold each other accountable, because not one guy is going to make the team great. It needs to be everyone.
All right, so last question for you here. Obviously, rugby is a pretty rough sport. How long do you guys usually recover after games?
I'm still recovering, but normally, like, after 2 days, your body kind of feels a little more normal, so you get back into practice. But I'd say not till the off season. Your body's never fully back to 100%.
Our next matchup was on the other end of the state. The Seminoles of Florida State traveled to take on Miami and take on the Panthers of FIU. The Panthers were coming off of a big loss to the Gators of the University of Florida, but the team that traveled to Gainesville the week before would have a slight different team showing up against the Noles. Some new recruits, along with some guys coming back from injuries, would give the Panthers just the boost they needed.
The Noles jumped out to an early lead and all the momentum in the first half with just 12 minutes to go. FSU had a 21-5 lead, but that is when things started to turn. FIU would not roll over. They kept fighting and closed the gap at halftime, 28-14. The Panthers would trail the Noles the entire game until the last seconds of the game with a 33-27 lead under a minute to play. Looked like the Noles would squeak out a victory over Miami.
But Alejandro took the ball 10 meters with time running out and scored a try to bring the game with a 1-point differential. Sagano Kamashi would kick the convert through as the whistle blew to give FIU a 1-point victory over Florida State.
Touching on with the game, would you guys come in? Were you guys underdogs?
So yeah, I mean, we knew FSU was going to be tough. We had a very good game with them last year, and they came out on top. So I mean, I felt like we could have been underdogs coming in, but you know, every game we play with full resiliency, and we don't stop until the end. So that's what happened today, and.
So I was there last year.
Yeah.
At Florida.
Yeah.
Completely different team this week.
Yeah, right? Completely different team, but I mean, it's never an excuse, but we had a bunch of players injured, players not here. Again, not an excuse. But yeah, I mean, last week wasn't an ideal game for us, and this week we were able to get the win and turn things around, and hopefully from now it's everything's up from now.
UCF next week, they're undefeated.
We have USF next week.
I'm
yes,
sorry.
Yeah. Yes. So they're undefeated. We actually played against them twice in the FCC sevens, and they beat us twice. So we know it's going to be a very tough game. We're going to have to prepare very hard this week, and we're going to have to give it our all next week in UCF in Tampa.
Appreciate your time. Enjoy the win.
Thank you very much.
My name is Cynthia. I go by CK. I'm one of the assistant coaches at FIU men's club right now. I would say we didn't go into the game thinking we could beat them. Of course, we just had two games that we took the losses on. We definitely had some injuries come back, so that was helpful. A few new players that was their first game today, about 3, 4, could be close to 6, I believe. I would have to double check that. Played an outstanding game. We definitely are a new team. I don't know, it's kind of, we just had this heart-to-heart talk about last Thursday, and we re-talked about our goals and what's important to us and the vision we have for this team, and everyone just took that to heart, and they had a change of mindset. I think that's the most hardest part about coaching, is when you see what the team needs and you're trying to coach that, but when the players aren't taking it in, and it has to click in their head for them. So from last game to even last practice, the guys just had a mindset change, and they had a change of heart, and they brought it, and that's what the coaches right now are just so impressed with, the fight they gave. I think towards the end of that game, that's what happened. It's like both teams were very phenomenal throughout the whole game, I believe, very respectful. Great defense as well. It's just that I think FIU towards the end dug down deep, and then they wanted it a little more, and they gave that little effort. I can't say coming into next week how it's going to go, because anything can happen. We suffered a few injuries of key players right now currently, but we definitely still have that just heart of that we want to make it, not only just because everyone makes it to playoffs, but we want to make it as far as we can with the team we have. Our seniors, we have a good amount of seniors graduating, and they want to make it to a championship as their final season. So yeah, I just think that the guys are digging deep just to keep going.
All right, what happened in the second half? You guys came out blazing in the first half. A lot of offense. Was it a different strategy, or did you guys get tired, or what happened in the second half?
I think second half we just got a little complacent. Yeah, kind of just started letting. We were in their half the entire second half, so we weren't playing in our half, and we kind of just got complacent towards the end. And you saw what happened towards the last play of the game, where we took the quick ball and scored. So yeah, just the entire second half, I guess we didn't put our gas on our foot on the pedal like we did in the first half, and we kind of paid for it towards the end.
You're 1-2 now. Where do you guys go from here? Who do you got next week, and how do you bounce back?
We're not looking forward. I mean, we're looking forward to next week. We're just gonna bounce back, go back to practice, go straight to the drawing board, see what we did wrong this game, and then just attack next week, and hopefully come out with a W.
Areas of improving, just putting that, like you said,
yeah, just
killer instinct.
Yeah, generally we have younger guys, so just learning the rules, going over the rules a little bit more, and just improving on everything that we've been improving on throughout the season. Our game plan has been working. We just towards the end of the games, we kind of just been getting complacent for whatever reason. But we're gonna, try to fix that this week when it's practice.
You guys have a drive home tonight? Or?
No, tomorrow morning.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, we're gonna stay the night.
I'm driving home tonight. So.
I see. Okay.
It's a common trend against our first game. It came down to penalties. Against UF, it came down to penalties at the end. We just got to learn how to finish at the end. And as opposed to what happened at the end, we lost. No one really knows what happened, but we didn't win. And it's time to go back and start better. We're 1-2, and we got to do better. That's it.
And at 1-2, you guys are still in it very much so, right?
Yeah.
And so you got, who do you have next week?
UCF.
UCF? At UCF?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good luck, and look forward to you guys fixing the things that need to be fixed and watch you guys play.
Our third and final matchup of the day would be in Boca, where the Florida Atlantic would take on the visiting Gators of UF. The Gators would take an 18-0 lead into halftime. They had scoring from Arias and Oliverio. Oliverio would add a convert and a penalty goal to the 18-point lead, would soon get challenged by the second half by the Owls of FIU.
They would score 3 tries and 1 convert to bring the game to a 1-point difference. The rest of the game was back and forth, and it was anyone's game really. As the final seconds ran off the clock, the Gators would hold on to a 1-point lead for the victory and the top spot of our leaderboard this week.
All right, so my name is Martin Gentile. I play number 12. And honestly, today was a very tough game. The first game we dominated it. It was 18-0, but then things turned. You know, they came out with intensity, and we started committing penalties. We started doing errors. We started talking to each other, to the ref. You know, things went sideways. But luckily, you know, the defense paid off. We won by 1 point. Up until the last play, it was very to the end, and yeah, it was fun. It was tough.
You guys staying down here tonight, or are you driving back?
Yeah, we're staying down here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you guys are now 2-1.
We're 3-1.
3-1.
Yeah.
And who do you got next week, or you got a?
We got a bye week, then we got UNF, and then I think USF.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Give me your name, position you played there, number you played.
My name's Noah Kruger. I play loose head prop at the number 1. What else?
Talk to me about the physicality of tonight.
Oh man. All right. So physicality was great. Great intensity from these guys, especially in the second half. First half felt great too, especially on our side. We controlled the ball very well. Second half, we definitely made mistakes. We need to work on them, but felt good at the end there. All of our training came in. We played fantastic defense. We held them at the end and came out with the win.
It was a tough-fought game. It was going very well for us in the first half. We were getting a lot of meters, and we were playing mostly in their half, but second half came, and it was a totally different ball game. They were running really strong with their forwards. We were able to keep the defensive line very well and stay spread and communicate very well and keep them at bay. It got close, right, and I think the wind a lot helped us in terms of like swaying kicks either way. And I can't be more proud of these boys. I mean, for the last couple of years, we've been kind of the gutter of Florida rugby. Last year we went completely winless. 2 years ago we went completely winless again, but our first win that season was in the first round of playoffs. And a lot of these guys are from that core group, but we've been gaining a lot of rookies, and I cannot say enough about these boys. I wouldn't go into battle with anyone else other than these guys. They've evolved, they've learned, they're working together so well, and we are all just brothers through and through, on and off the field, and I love these boys. And it's
let's go, B!
It's my last year, or next year might be my last year, but if anything, I'm just kind of trying to cherish every moment because this is where I want to be. I love these guys.
Dylan Earp, I played tight head lock. Basically in the first half, penalties killed us. Had a lot of discipline issues. Second half, we tightened it up. Got more on our game plan, played aggressive, didn't let up any scores in the second half, but just fell short on conversions. And that's about it.
Jonathan Adcock, play lock. And I think we were hitting today. We were hitting. They were hitting hard too. It was a physical game. We're conditioning's good. We've been running on the weekends, 3 practices a week, heavy sprints, all that. Really.
What does your training consist of? A lot of sprinting?
We have a lot of sprints just throughout the practice mixed in, and then a lot of high-paced drills that we do too.
How long does it take you to recover after a game?
A couple days, way more than football. Football is like a day. I'm still hurting Monday, Tuesday.
And what would you say to anybody who's thinking about coming out for rugby?
Do it. It's my favorite sport I've ever played. Way more than football, way more than anything else. The companionship between the boys is stronger than any other sport I have.
Here are the results of this weekend.
And here are the seedings after week 4.
Our top spot goes to the Gators with a 3-1 record and 15 points. USF, who had a bye last week, is the only undefeated team with 12 points. UCF at 2-2 is sitting in 3rd place with 12 points, while FIU pulled off the big upset against the Knolls to take the 4th spot with 11 points. And rounding out the top, the last 3 spots are FSU, FAU, and UNF. There's a lot of rugby left to be played this season. Tune into our broadcast this weekend to catch all the action.
Each week on this show, we try to explain the game of rugby so that you too can understand it. This week, we asked Patty McNeil to help us understand the different positions on the field. This week, he covered the forwards. They were jersey numbers 1 through 8.
I'm here with Patty McNeil. Patty's been excellent at helping Quick Cut understand the game. He has worked with our statisticians, and I've asked him to explain this week forwards and the different forward positions that rugby offers, and what kind of body size you're looking for in that position, and what is their role during the game when you're playing 15. So, Patty, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, so the forwards, rugby is a really simple game in that we've really we've labeled the numbers to position. So your forwards are 1 through 8. Your 1 and your 3s are your props. Your props tend to be the largest men, sort of heavier. These are your pushers. These are the guys that are in the scrum that are going to solidify the scrum and move it forward. And they're going to do a lot of the dirty work on the field. They're going to clean up rucks. They're going to pound, sort of like a fullback would in football. You hand them the ball, and it's designed that they would take 2 or 3 people to tackle them. So your front row is 2 props, loose head, which means his head's up, on the open side of the scrum, and the tight head means he's got 2 heads, nestled next to his head. Then you have the hooker in the middle. The hooker tends to be a little bit smaller than the props, although over the last few years, hookers have been getting bigger. But what their job is in a scrum, they would be the ones that would hook the ball to their side so that you win the scrum. In a line out, they would be typically the ones that would throw the ball in. So, you'd have your jumpers, they would throw up and they'd throw it in. So your front row, your props will, push in the scrum, usually lift in the line out, and your hooker is hooking the ball your way and throwing the ball in. Then you have your second row, which are sometimes called locks. They tend to be tall because they can stretch out and push. So in the scrum, they support the front row and pushing and giving stability to the scrum. And in the line out, these are typically your jumpers. These are the guys that you would lift. So the taller they are, the higher they can get in the air, the more advantage you would have, like in a line out. Then you have your flankers and your number 8, which is considered your back row. And then these are more like a linebacker in football. They're agile, they're fast, they're tough, and they get around, and they're fit. They get around the field. They're everywhere. They're sometimes the first people to the rucks. Your prop hit it, they're right there to get it out. But you could also pass them the ball, and they would be able to hit a hole and get some yardage for you because of speed. So they tend to be your high. They make a high amount of tackles because they're so quick around the field. So they'll tackle backs, they'll tackle forwards, do any of those kind of things. So 6 and 7 linebackers. 8 tends to be your leader in that they direct a lot what the 6 and 7s will do, and the others. In a scrum, they might pull the ball out of the scrum themselves, but they're typically one of the first to the ball, but also have a lot of athletic ability. So those are your forwards.
So in a scrum, that's how it's going to line up right there.
Yep.
Based on those numbers.
Yeah. So the 1, 2, 3 is considered your front row. Your 4 and 5 is your second row, and your 6, 7, 8 are your back row.
Talk to me about that scrum for just a second here. How much technique is involved with a scrum, or is the most important thing size and strength, or are technique, size, and strength all have to be part of that?
So really, technique will win a lot if you have better technique. Typically, when you look at if you look at pro games, they'll tell you how much the scrum weighs. They'll add everybody up and they'll say, this scrum has 40 kilograms more than the other scrum, that kind of stuff. So, the weight matters associated with that, but typically it's whoever gets lowest, whoever binds tight. So this should be a very cohesive group. The hooker will raise his arms and the prop will come in, and when they grab onto the jersey, they'll actually like curl it so they're tight. Same with the second rows, they'll come in tight. So if you can get low and tight, you can overcome a size advantage. And then how quick your hooker can get it out and move it back, move it to the back of the scrum. The longer the ball stays in the scrum, the more susceptible you are to a push. So offensively, when the ball is coming in, so you have an advantage. The way that you take over that advantage as a defense is you push as soon as you can, and you hope that you push them backwards, and then the ball automatically comes your way. And so if you look at the high league, there's, probably 80 to 95% win their own scrums, so your own scrum. But if you have a good push, you can increase a 0% to 20% of just being able to, controlling and pushing the ball out so that you can take possession.
All right, I appreciate your time and thank you for explaining to us the role of the forwards in rugby.
That's all the coverage we have for you guys this week. I'm Christian Bustier. He's Adam Black.
And tune in next week on the Rugby Report.